are back. Welcome back. I'm Chris. Oh.
Actually, I'm Chris.
And I'm Ann.
Yeah.
And this is Lifestyle Business. Today, we head back to where it all started for us, New Orleans. We're going to talk to Evie Poitevent Sanders of G&O Inc. to hear about her latest on the latest initiative educating remote workers with ties to New Orleans, just
All
like
right.
us, on the benefits of coming back home to live, work, and of course, play in the great state of Louisiana. So Evie, we're going to have you join us in a few minutes, but first, Persades.
Yeah. We were out watching the media shower last night. Anybody else been checking out the media shower?
Media shower?
Meteor shower.
It sure sounded like media.
Meteor
We
shower.
are not on our game today.
Yeah.
We were watching the meteor shower last night. It was.
I saw
good.
like 5 shooting stars.
I know. Every time I looked away or put my head down or stepped away, he'd see another meteor go by.
I don't think you're very good at just staying focused on the sky and chilling out.
I think I don't think you actually saw that many shooting stars.
It was cool. It was cool.
Shooting stars.
Hopefully everybody else is catching up on that. And what else?
Were you going to show us some Persades or no?
No, it's not happening.
Okay. Because we got this new platform, so we can do all kinds of really cool things. And we can also connect with others in the audience. So let's see how we're doing on that front. Ask us anything. That's right. Let's do this. All right, but let's just talk. We were talking earlier today. We're getting a lot of requests for some mentorship hours.
Yeah, and we're going to be bringing that back.
Bringing it back.
Since we're all virtual now. God, who knows when we're actually going to see anybody again.
In person, in real life. Yeah, no, but it's good. I mean, it's good. We're hearing from lots of folks that they are starting their businesses or restarting their business or thinking about what's next for them. Well, so we've been thinking about what's next for us in terms of delivering some mentorship and just office hours and generally connecting in real life. In fact, one of our mentors, Brett Durrett, who many of you know, we are going to be meeting with him today. I think he might give us a little mentorship.
I think he will, and hopefully come on and do some mentorship hours. But it's been interesting with the transition in New Orleans. We've been getting a ton of nice outreach. In fact, I had a call yesterday with somebody who said that they were at Launch Fest one year, and they said, I can't believe I'm not on that stage. I'm going to start a company. And here they are, and they have a major company in New Orleans. And he said the reason he built that company was because he was in the audience at Launch Fest. And you know,
did he see me when I was was it my speech that inspired him?
It must have been that year for sure. But have been getting a ton of amazing outreach with people, obviously disappointed with the turn of events in New Orleans. But also, you know, what's really heartening to me is how much Launchpad has played a role in people's businesses, people's careers. You know, it's 10 years of impact there. And everybody has sort of had shared
10 years of impact
stories on a very personal level. But one of the amazing things that we used to do at Launchpad was Hack Night. And Hack Night was every Tuesday night in Launchpad, right next to Capiteville. And basically, you know, whenever anybody wanted any time or to chat or, you know, pitch or whatever about their business, I just said, show up at Hack Night.
And I remember you used to go hang out at Hack Night.
Yeah.
That was like your favorite thing.
I mean, literally like spending time with entrepreneurs or, you know, programmers.
Or tight ends from the Saints.
Anybody who...
Really? We did have tight ends from the Saints. He was a tight end, right?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. But that I want to get that sort of environment flowing again. And we've got to do it virtually now, but fortunately there are tools to do it. And
well, that's what we're working on, right?
That's what we're working on.
So if we've got some recommendations on tools out there, we're all ears. Why don't you share a couple of the tools that you've been looking at?
Sure. A couple of community building platform tools. Actually, the names of the tools aren't important because we're not making any decisions right now. But essentially, the Launchpad Nation that we've had physically and still have physically in Newark and Nashville and Stockton and coming in Mesa and many other locations. We're also going to be recreating it virtually for these pandemic times.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I'm not joking. I do think we could use a little mentorship. Everybody could.
Everybody.
I mean, who out there is not sort of reshuffling the deck right now? It's certainly not business as usual. I bet G&O Inc., Evie, when you come on, I bet you're shuffling the deck a little bit too, thinking about what your MO is going to be. I mean, like, let's face it. If you're in economic development, you're probably not sitting around saying, like, how do I recruit the next HQ2? Because who cares about an HQ when everyone's remote? Google's not going back to work. Facebook's not going back to work. HQs aren't going back to work. HQs are gone. Yeah. We aren't recruiting HQs. We're all about supporting local entrepreneurship. And I was just on that investor call with Stockton yesterday. So I'm going to be at the Investor Summit for Stockton next Tuesday or Wednesday at 10:35 a.m. And it was interesting because, you know, your typical, they're condensing their like 2-day summit that we were supposed to co-host with them down to a 2-hour summit, because I think that's what people can consume on Zoom. And I represent about a 20 minutes with 4 other organizations in Stockton. And what was interesting is, of course, they're like, so how's the panel going to go? And Ann Rogan straight up said, like, guys, we might ask 1 or 2 questions, but the purpose of the panel is not actually to have this normal, typical 35, 45-minute panel discussions. It's actually about showcasing you as organizations in Stockton that make it attractive for investors to want to come here. Because by demonstrating the Launchpad, which is, you know, the community hub, the Code Academy, which is the code school for educating folks, and actually they're the first code school to be accredited to basically support the 9 to 12, grade 9 to grade 12. Which is really important because that's when you see a drop off in STEM education and lack of interest. And so as people are getting interested, so we got to build the pipeline. So they're the first code school. Then they're doing another one, which is the boat online infrastructure, right? The data center. Yeah. On a boat. The boat data center. I mean, who doesn't love a boat data center? That would be pretty good for the Crescent City, I think. But anyway, nonetheless, it was very interesting because they realize that by demonstrating the infrastructure that they have that supports entrepreneurship, that then attracts capital into the city. And it's similar to what Evie will talk to us a little bit about when it's about attracting others to come to your city. You have to demonstrate that your city is really good. Anyway, the point is everybody should be shuffling the decks. We're even shuffling the decks with our lightened load. You know, the obvious answer was, well, where's your next project? Are you coming back to New Orleans? Are you coming back to Memphis? What's going to happen next? And we don't know. And it's kind of nice. We know we're going to Mesa. But now all of a sudden we're thinking about, you know, what is the next step?
We do have an ongoing conversation with the NFL franchise.
That's right. And they're not on this shirt.
Yeah, and I keep wearing this shirt to the meetings.
And they still want to talk to us. But they are recruiting us to a northern city in the United States, close to my homeland. Strong and free.
In the NFC.
Well, you can't. Okay.
That's half of the teams. It's okay.
Okay. Anyway, so it is. I mean, we will be the co-working space of the NFL.
Yeah.
The NBA. MLB.
Right.
All of it. League soccer. The women's NBA. All of them. You're not picking up what I'm laying down.
No.
It's so annoying. Anyway, I'm the one who's actually driving the NFL deal. And this one's like, it's never happening. It's not happening. And I'm like, it's it's happening. If you would stop wearing your Saints shirt, it would probably happen faster.
Well, let's get back to what you're highlighting, and Evie's going to be on here talking about here in a second. The governor of New Hampshire was on Twitter yesterday lambasting New York and recruiting New York residents. He said, no state taxes, no income tax, no corporate tax. It's a competition. It's not a competition for corporate headquarters like you were mentioning. It's a competition for talent, because literally the Bay Area is boarded up. We're in San Francisco. No. There's plywood on every storefront. All of the companies are work from home for the next at least 12 months to July of next year. And people are moving fast, right?
Fast.
By the way, everybody seems to be going to Austin. I think Austin's getting pretty crowded. They should be going to New Orleans. We'll talk about that in a minute here. But the governor is recruiting people. Maine is giving people $10,000 to move to Maine. Right, it's
they had that program a while ago. Now they're like, finally,
the acceleration of the distribution of talent across the country is remarkable right now. And if you're not acting on it, you're missing the window, because people are literally, the conversations that we're having are where people are moving.
And how to recruit. And quite frankly, Evie, we know that Grady isn't going to be on the call today, but I'd be giving him a razzing, because I got a lot of other cities who are interested in my, we'll talk about it. Evie. Get ready. All right. So while we're at a break time. I think it's time to bring Evie in.
Yeah.
As a NOLA native, Evie Sanders is passionate about positioning NOLA as a must-live, can-do business destination and helping New Orleans fulfill its potential as one of the best places in the country to grow a company and raise a family. She's joining us today to talk about how G&O Inc.'s latest endeavor is meeting its mission statement to serve as a catalyst for job and wealth creation in the region and help support and build a robust and growing middle class in Southeastern Louisiana. Hi, Evie.
Hey, guys. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on today.
Oh, we're great.
Thanks
you know what you guys are missing?
What, G&O Inc. or New Orleans?
No, what New Orleans is missing?
You guys, Launchpad.
Launchpad.
Duh.
Does it feel a little emptier?
A little quieter. Yeah. A little less fun.
Oh, that's the best. Thank you. Well, it's good to see you. I know I was hoping to razz Grady about we were coming up with a good plan, but I think Evie, you are even a better choice for us. But I can't be as mean to you.
Oh,
I'm an artist. It's big shoes to fill.
That's right. Yeah. No way. Are you kidding? We got the magic.
I'm pretty sure he'd rather be on this right now, because I believe he's stuck in a dry webinar at the moment.
Fair enough.
Well, speaking of dry webinars.
Yeah. We are having a dry week.
That is true.
Well,
that's not celebrating New Orleans to not be drinking this week.
We're living our most moderate life. And it's
good
so
for you.
fun.
You probably feel better for it.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, actually. I'm not 100% convinced. But nonetheless, we are so excited for us to get into this. But I think, from our perspective, from Launchpad's perspective, cities with people with pride and cities with soul kind of encapsulates what we do when it comes to the locations that we want. And that really does come from our roots in New Orleans. So talk to us a little bit about your initiative, and if it's the time for people to think about where they want to live and why wouldn't you want to live in New Orleans?
I'm going to put it up on the screen while we chat here, and you can kind of talk us through it.
That would be great. Thank you, guys. So we've officially launched our relocation program that is, as of now, open-ended and ongoing. People can apply right now. We are still actually building the package, so stay tuned for more details to be published in the near future. But the idea is to attract talent. So we're going to be targeting talent that has some sort of ties to New Orleans, expat or boomerang talent that either grew up here or went to school here and has a connection here, may be ready to make a change and wanting to get back closer to home. We are going to be rolling out a social media SEO campaign targeting talent in higher cost markets such as, sorry guys, the Bay Area and New York. So if people are, of course, reassessing their life right now and their lifestyle choices and also their cost of living investments, we are going to make the case that New Orleans is a viable option. While it is these very large cities, we also will be targeting a lot of tech talent that already has the freedom and flexibility to work remotely. We've seen some of the big players like Facebook and Twitter say, working remotely better ongoing. So hopefully some of those folks are reassessing where they want to live, where they want to be, realizing they can live in a cheaper market and end up pocketing more of that take-home pay themselves. So the components of the program are pretty simple. We don't have the $10,000 moving stipend yet. It's something we're trying to figure out and work towards, and maybe eventually we'll have something in place. But TBD. In the meantime, we're putting together more of a homegrown package, so to speak, with apartment, discounts or free months of rent if you sign like a 9-month lease or a 12-month lease, free and or discounted co-working space. We're working to get some restaurant discounts, free passes to like the Audubon Institute properties, including the Audubon Zoo, which is a world-class zoo, and it's outdoors, so you can go there safely during the time of COVID. And passes and tickets to other events as they start to come back online, because we are in an extended phase 2 reopening. We've been in phase 2 for a while now in Louisiana, and gradually over time, you're seeing things starting to come back to life.
That's amazing.
I didn't pass along there.
Very exciting. And I think, so, I think the reality is that no one's coming back. No one really, is anyone moving to Maine for the $10,000? Let's ask that question. I don't think so. I think they need to move to a city because they want to live there. And, what are the things that you think are the most attractive for New Orleans in terms of attracting people? I want to hear your professional opinion on this.
Of course. So, I was one of those people who grew up here, moved away for a long time, and I actually moved back after Katrina. And I think, there's so many things that make New Orleans a one in a million kind of place. There's the history, there's the culture, there's the food, there's the music, all the things that people have grown to love and know about New Orleans through our strong marketing campaigns and visiting New Orleans for various functions. But there are other parts to New Orleans that people may not be as aware of, and that is that it's extremely family friendly. It is really all about community and relationships and, your neighbors and your neighborhood. It's also, it really has something for everyone. It's a very open, accepting place. So we welcome and embrace people of all backgrounds and all stripes, so to speak. And also, it's all what you make of it. If you want a very, arts and cultural lifestyle, you can have that. It's a sophisticated, historic city. If you want outdoor recreation, we've got parks aplenty, and a huge lake and a huge river in our backyard. Hike and biking trails, of course, and running trails and golf courses everywhere. And you can raise a family here. I do lots of neighborhood driving tours, quality of life tours, and people will say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you have normal neighborhoods with normal schools and normal houses. And I'm like, yes, New Orleans actually has a lot of that normal mainstream America stuff that people want everyday life. So it's really a place where you can define who you are and who you want to be.
Well, we just had friends who are going to spend their winters now in New Orleans. You're absolutely right. It's it gives you there's this magic that comes from New Orleans that sort of sinks into your soul. And even if you're not from there, it's a place that keeps you young and refreshed and energized. What do you think is going to happen over the next sort of year or two? Obviously, a big part of the New Orleans culture is spending time with your community. and being part of those, really important cultural aspects of things. And so how do you think New Orleans is going to respond to that? And where do you see that going for the next year?
Well, you're definitely seeing in the restaurant space, everything moving outside if it wasn't already there. So just like in probably every other city, tons of outdoor seating that the city has made accommodations for on sidewalks and even in parking lanes, like you see in New York City, for example. So I think that is going to be here to stay in support of our large restaurant industry. Also, the entity that once was NOTMC, New Orleans Tourism and Marketing Corporation, and then became New Orleans and Company, is now the New Orleans Cultural Economy Fund. And they've just released their report, their mission statement, their strategic plan of how to market and support and fund the cultural economy of New Orleans in this new COVID era. And a lot of it does include digital marketing assets and live streaming events, and basically bringing the arts online as much as possible, and thereby ensuring equity as well in the space. Because the internet can kind of level the playing field, especially if an entity like the fund is behind the marketing efforts. They can ensure equal access and equal spotlight and airtime for all artisans, musical but also visual art as well.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's not quite the same, I know, but it's the best we can do in the here and now, right?
Well,
everybody's in the here and now, right?
It's not going to be forever, right? So you're making a long-term decision about where you want to move and where you want to live, and you've got a short-term inconvenience, that might put it mildly, of not being able to get together. But you're not getting the best out of New Orleans when you're not able to be together in person. Well, but that's true of anywhere.
That's
right?
true of anywhere.
Yeah.
And you don't have winter.
That's right.
We do have a very mild climate. The hardest part is the hot summers, but you get used to that, and then you've got 9 months out of the year that are pretty incredible.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah. Well, is everybody getting fired up for Saints season?
Oh yeah. Saints, and then maybe possibly LSU. There's the great debate of what's going on in college football, and the SEC is definitely pushing to move forward. So we'll see how that all unfolds. But yeah, a lot of excitement about the Saints season. I think that'll bring a sense of normalcy and something to celebrate and rally around. I think everyone is kind of sick of all the gloom and doom and the constant corona media coverage, a little bit of corona fatigue, not to minimize it. It is obviously a massive sea change taking place right now. But I think sometimes people need those interactions. What'd you say?
Time for some tailgating in the backyard.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Within your pod, of course.
Of course.
Within your pod, with your PPE, with social distancing, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
No, everything's, we're doing okay down here. I talk to friends in other parts of the country, and again, I'm not trying to minimize it. It is a very serious situation. But I think down here, generally speaking, there is a cautious, safe, health conscious intention around trying to reopen gradually, and not live in total fear and isolation for the indefinite future.
Yeah.
I think so far they're striking a good balance down here with safety and caution in mind.
Yeah, I think even in the fact that New Orleans was hit so hard initially post Mardi Gras, it sort of, everybody's well aware of how serious it can get. So that's probably
we learned a lesson hard and early, that it was really the Europeans who brought it to the New Yorkers who brought it to the New Orleanians during Mardi Gras. I'm kidding. But the good thing is that lesson sunk in for us, and by and large, New Orleans has been doing a really good job of keeping the numbers, relatively low. And Louisiana itself has been on the uptick, but New Orleans has been holding its own pretty well, all things considered, relatively speaking.
Yeah, and I mean, that is great to see because so many other parts of the country are going through that hotspot phase, but it's like they're not necessarily approaching it. And I think New Orleans has crisis management in its sort of veins. And the ability to sort of like, okay, here we go.
Between all of our, like, yeah, you know, like hurricanes and, you know, Mardi Gras and just those large scale events, we definitely have crisis management at the forefront of our minds and, well, you know, under our belts as well. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the big Katrina lesson of resilience and that ability to come back and pivot, to use the buzzword of late, and, you know, rebuild and reinvent yourself. I mean, we went through that hardship and those tough learning experiences with Katrina, but I think that is absolutely informing how we cope with and adjust to this new normal during the pandemic. You know, people know, like, okay, if we got through that, we can get through this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you do have to be patient and you have to be flexible and willing to change. But necessity is the mother of invention. Cue the entrepreneurship and startup community, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we are all shuffling the decks.
Yes, we are.
And I think people are really being serious about where and intentional about where they want to live, right? And I mean, we haven't been to San
Quality
Francisco
of life
in
is
months.
huge. Cost of living is huge. And it, you know, what we're trying to say is we've got the housing stock, you know, we've got the apartment availability, we've got the green spaces, we have the, like, literal and figurative breathing room here. So if you're tired of living the rat race life in a shoebox in a different high cost market, come to New Orleans and have that breathing room, have that choice, and let your dollars go further.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
I think it's a good message. I mean, I think that lifestyle cities that you've got that quality of life and cost of living balance are like New Orleans are really well poised right now, for sure.
Yeah, and don't worry, we still have the quirkiness and the edge and the funkiness. I mean, that's never going to go away. And if you come here, whether you move or you come to visit and scope it out, because you will eventually move, just walking around neighborhood by neighborhood, you're still going to see the quirkiness and the funkiness. Like, that has not gone away. COVID has not and cannot erase that here. It's literally in the DNA of the city and the people.
That's awesome.
And not many places can say that, especially in the U.S.
So, Evie, do you have the answer to the question on everyone's mind? What's happening with Mardi Gras next year?
$1 million question, or I guess I should say a priceless question. As of now, I've heard, I mean, nothing has changed. We haven't heard that it's not going to happen or that it's getting scaled back. I think everything is in a wait and see mode. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, that with a virtual component, that I have a hard time wrapping my head around.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll try to socially distance the parade route and have markers along the way for people to stand in. I have no idea.
It's going to be tough. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? Like everything, you just take it one day, one step at a time, and you cross that bridge when you get to it.
Maybe we'll just decorate maybe the whole thing about Mardi Gras will be decorating your hazmat suit.
Or I thought you were going to say your house. Like if everyone just went bonkers decorating their house, like to look like a Mardi Gras float. And if you had that across the city in like an elevated sense, that could actually be really cool too.
Right.
Yeah. That's neat. I mean, that to me is the thing that New Orleans has so much stock in, right? Which is just generally creativity and expression.
Oh yeah.
Right. And
if
the whole idea
that away temporarily, we'll replace it with something, you know, spontaneous and homegrown and just equally awesome.
Which is that's the magic that you can't bottle and you can't create, and you really have to experience in in real life, right? Is just that magic and that creativity and that spirit that just imbues everything. So
And we'll get back to that.
we will. I mean, that's also the greatest thing about New Orleans. It's so resilient. It really is a beacon for others in terms of how to manage and maintain spirit and joy and energy and everything around times of crisis. And so this is unfortunately a global crisis, but we can still learn from, we should learn from the pros, and you guys are the pros.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess in that regard, it's kind of nice to not be like going it alone this time. You know, we're all in the same boat together worldwide. So what's the saying, like misery loves company? Although, I mean, I don't think we're in a particularly miserable mindset, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get it. All right. Well, it's good to see you.
Yes. So good to see you guys.
I
Hopefully in person eventually soon enough.
For anybody looking for a place to relocate to, I don't think I can recommend New Orleans highly enough.
No.
Well, thank you guys for always being such passionate advocates for the city and just loyal and dedicated friends to the city, the identity, to GNO Inc. You know, we love what you're doing. We love Launchpad. We can't wait to see you back here one day.
We hope so.
What'd you say?
I said we hope so. Hey, we've been looking at places in the Lower Garden.
Nice.
We've been
Love
looking
that
at
area.
houses.
Yeah.
We like doing real estate tours ourselves.
It's so fun. Never gets old. Well, if anyone listening to this has any questions about relocating here, or even just questions about New Orleans in general and, you know, doing business here, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. epoitevent@gnoinc.org is my email, and I'm listed on the gnoinc.org website.
Yay! Well,
All
thank
right.
you so much, and it was so great. As everyone knows, for us, we highly recommend New Orleans as a place to land.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, we're gonna let you go.
Don't
Good to
forget
see
the
you.
application window is now open, so please tell your friends, everyone apply, and we'll see what you get.
All right.
It's a great deal.
There you go.
All right, thanks, guys.
Evie.
All right.
All right. Well, that was good. I mean, honestly, like New Orleans would be a great place to be right now, and a great place to be long term, right? With all the people that are have a new ability to choose where they live, which has always been part of our thesis. I mean, the basis for our thesis.
Really, the basis. And in fact, that's what we were talking about yesterday with Gio.
Yeah.
He's like, what are the cities on your list? And it's always, you know, you go back to places that are, you were talking about it, places you want to spend time, places you'd like to actually move, places you'd like to spend a weekend or a week or more, and keep revisiting, keep exploring.
That's the way we always did it, right? Which was, what city would you go spend a 3-day weekend in hanging out? New Orleans is obviously on that list.
Always top five. Always top five.
I won't go into the cities that aren't on that list, but there are some. We probably won't be opening Launchpad locations there. But people
I'm
are
talking to you.
People are making that choice right now, which is exciting.
Yeah. I mean, Mesa, our next location.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to go to Arizona for a little getaway?
Exactly.
It's gonna be good.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Thanks for being with us. We have an exciting, really exciting show next week. We've got 2 members from Newark, New Jersey.
Excited to have them on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking to our friend Dee Marshall. And
who else?
Is it on the list?
All right, you'll help us out.
Awkward.
All right. We'll be back next Tuesday. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Thanks so much to Evie for joining us and sharing about the New Orleans relocation program. If you're interested in a place to move right now, check it out. And we'll see you all next week.
If you're